occupied with, the Independence celebration and the precursor, of course, to all the events, Creole Festival. And we have with us, we need to get a headset. We have with us tonight two distinguished young men from the Commander of Dominican Police Force, and in light of Police Week, we are honored to have two great young men who have actually made a decision to give their lives to country. Tonight we were supposed to have had with us the chairman of the Electoral Commission, as we have seen the commencement of the process of confirmation.
Good.
And then, but of course, this program will be aired live the following Thursday, not the next one, but the following one, when we're hoping to have the chairman and of course along with the CEO, as we actually try to further educate and to edify the public as to how the process of confirmation is unfolding, and to give the citizens of this country an insight as to what is expected of them when they present themselves to the enrollment officers in the respective constituencies to get themselves the names, confirmed on the voters list. So we will leave this topic for that night, and we're hoping that a number of issues can be settled before that program, so the people can be informed as to how do we take the process forward, and to ensure that everybody participates. Once the name is on the voters list, make yourself available. I have gotten my name confirmed without any difficulty, and I also brought with me a colleague who came to Dominican vacation, and he and I actually are from the same area in Maho, and I know of a number of people who came back, and they ensured that they got confirmed before they returned to the United States or wherever they live in outside of Dominica. So tonight we have with us, can we start tonight to have the introduction of our two guests tonight?
Good night, listeners of DBS Radio, the nation station. My name is David Andrew Jr., Sergeant of Police, and I'm the Community Policing Coordinator.
Good.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Good evening to everybody listening in Radio Land and those viewing via social media. My name is Dion Moses, Corporal of Police, and I am a member of the Community Policing Unit.
Okay, before we actually go into some more detail as to what community policing actually entails from the Commander of Dominican Police Force perspective, tell us something about yourself, Mr. Andrew. Firstly, what led you or inspired you to become a police officer?
I must say very in my youthfulness, I had a passion for policing due to the fact that my father was a police officer, and I saw the level of dedication and the level of leadership and the level of passion which he had for the job. Retired Superintendent of Police David Andrew, and emulating him as a young boy going to school, I always used to say, I want to be a police. I want to be a police because I saw the level of leadership and personality he brought to the community, to the police force, and always a person of great role model to his family and to a lot of the youths, because he has been involved in many organizations also.
Yeah. Yes, very, 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 very good. Good evening to Mr. Andrew, and of course to the wife. And I had the experience to have been in his company several times, negotiating salaries for the police. And then this guy was known for rhyming, etc. And so before we go to the other guest, tell us something about your background. I know, and there had to be a reason why you were chosen as the lead person for community policing. Tell us something about your educational background.
Okay. First of all, I've been in the force for 25 years of service. I have worked at several departments. I have worked at the Special Service Unit. I have worked at the Director of Public Prosecution Office as a court prosecutor for many years. I've also worked at the outstations of Point Michel, Granby, La Plaine. I've also been in the tourism unit where I was the second in charge. So, and also the general section. So I have a very diverse and rounded backgrounds in the different aspects of policing, as in operations, prosecutions, and investigations. I also worked at the CID. I've always believed that if you want to make police in your career, you have to build your capacity and you have to develop yourself. So very early in my career, I studied at the University of the West Indies Global Campus, where I attained my bachelor's degree in management studies. After completion, I went on to Mona, Jamaica, where I spent some time, lived there, and did a master's degree in national security and strategic studies, which is police related, and that has always been my love and my drive.
Yeah, but am I also understanding that you presently in the process of proceeding with pursuing, for want of a better word, your PhD in something related to community policing?
Yes, sir. I wasn't going to say that, but yes, I'm currently a student at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, where I'm pursuing studies in criminology and public safety, which is directly related to community policing, and the safety of the public.
Very, very good. Now we have a gentleman sitting next to you who is not new to the public space. I think it's the lead vocals or something for which band?
Ecstasy.
Okay, tell us something about yourself, though.
Certainly, my policing career began in the Royal Montserrat Police Force, where I probably served for 5 years. After that chapter, I transitioned to the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, where I have now dedicated 15 years of service. I've worked in several areas. I've worked in the Coast Guard, several outstations, Granby, La Plaine, Cassibus. I've participated in several investigation serious crimes. I've been at the financial center, where I was the person in charge of the security detail on the ground floor and those at the government headquarters. Presently, I am at the community policing unit. It's been a very rewarding and transformative journey, and I think I remain committed to serving the people of Dominica with professionalism and pride. Yes.
I'm very much encouraged to hear the level of confidence, from both of you, and the fact that you have made policing your vocation. And I think it should actually be an inspiration for a number of folks who may be listening now. And as you know, the police force is currently recruiting young men and women. And I think you guys can be excellent role models for our young men, some of whom are at risk. Now tonight, we are placing special focus on community policing. Let me take time out here tonight to commend you guys for celebrating yet another police week. So far, I think the events have unfolded well, and I hope that tomorrow. When is the talent night? Tomorrow night?
Saturday night.
Saturday night. Okay. that folks like you can show your talent. I've not seen Andrew try anything yet, and to encourage the public to come in, to the police headquarters and participate. And good evening to all the police officers, women and men, the commissioner of police, and the rank and file of the police force. Good evening to you. Now, community policing. Tell us something as to Mr. Andrew, starting with you. What is what kind of perspective do you assign to community policing?
Well, community policing is a philosophy. It's a strategy aimed at reducing crime and the fear of crime. Unlike the traditional style of policing, which is more reactive, where the police gets a report, they respond to the report, and they return back to base. Community policing is opposite to that. It's a more proactive style of policing, where we do not wait for a report to be made. We don't wait for some level of criminal activity to happen. We engage the public. So it is one of building a partnership with the public, having that close interactions to find out what are their problems and how we together, the police and the people, can solve that particular issue or problem. So what that does, it creates a greater appreciation to their own safety and security, where we and they do not see themselves as separate entities, but we see ourselves as united in combating crime.
Yes, community policing is basically, for me, is focusing on building strong and positive partnership between the police and the public. One of our goals, I think, is to work hand in hand with the communities to solve problems, as the director said, and to prevent crime and also the fear of crime. Supporting our youth is another strong initiative that we have in the unit, and in doing so, we try to create safer environments for them in things like mentorship programs, the school visits, in having lectures, engaging the grassroots. That's what I call them. So we go down to the level of the grassroots, because if we can tackle the problem as a very, very young age and educate the youth as to the dangers out there, if they choose a particular path, I think it is beneficial to the country and to the police force by extension. We believe that policing is effective when the community and the police works together. And if you have a community or a country where the police and the community can work together and unite in the sense that we can have conversations or give the information that we need, not declare in yourself or put yourself at risk in any way, but in a safe way, and at the same time causing your environment or your community to remain safe.
Yeah, I kind of like how would I put it? The manner in which you have actually qualified what Sergeant Andrew has just said, by and placing emphasis on building partnership for the express purpose of solving issues. And just to start again, go back to your community policing plan, Mr. Andrew, and maybe you want to speak to that. Does the police force of Dominica, you have a community policing plan?
Yes, we do. It's a comprehensive plan built with various strategies to combat crime and various initiatives. So thus far we have activated our community patrols, where we go into the various communities where sometimes we do not as frequent as often as we should, we place emphasis on those communities, those inner communities, and we engage the people, we engage the youth, because at the end of the day, sometimes the police and sometimes the public, there's misunderstandings between each other, and sometimes talking, communicating, discussing those issues can bring a better understanding for the role of the police and the role the community plays within it. Also, we've embarked on forming neighborhood watches in several communities, and that has been working quite well. We have set up neighborhood watches in Castle Comfort, Wallhouse area, in the...
Which part, if I may ask, or what are the parts of Castle Comfort? Does that include places like Boba?
It may have persons in Boba to the extent. I'm not too sure to the extent, but there are persons in Boboa, but predominantly Castle Comfort area and Wallhouse. But there's always need to expand and add more people to the grouping, so that you create that type of safety net, expanded.
So Castle Comfort, where else?
We the Mount Daniel area, we also have neighborhood watches in the Goodwill Center Roma area. That's one of our most active areas, where the persons of the community are extremely vigilant, and I must make mention of some of the community leaders in the neighborhood watching in Center Roma and Goodwill area, like Miss Karen Moise and also Cora Richards. They have been instrumental in forming the groups and keeping the group very active.
I must say, though, I came to a session. I think it was actually held at the Red Cross.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes,
area compound, and I was very much impressed to have seen the level of participation and involvement and enthusiasm, and I hope that can be replicated in other communities. So, what about Amsoil and Kenfield East areas there?
The intention is to set up one in Kenfield East very shortly. So that is our aim, to set up in Kenfield East very shortly. But we also have in the Jimit area also, we have set up a neighborhood watch in that area, and that too has been effective.
As we're talking about neighborhood watches, and so the program that you develop and would depend on the needs of a particular community. Is that so?
Yes, that is correct. I mean, different communities might have different types of crime in which that might be impacting the community. Hence, it is curtailed to the particular type of crime. Like, for example, in Center Roma Goodwill, you see some level of burglaries, and to a lesser extent theft. So constant monitoring and vigilance is very important for the members of that community, to ensure that the burglaries stay at a very low rate, and we have been seeing a serious reduction in burglaries, not only in the Center Roma Goodwill area, but island wide.
Yeah, if my memory serves me right, we have seen, of course, in the 90s, burglaries were actually averaging in the area of 1,300 thereabout, and and we have seen, based on the statistics of the Criminal Records Office of the Criminal Investigation Department, you're talking about so far for the year, and the year is almost completed, 147 and last year 223. So when you compare that to an average of 1,003 in the early 90s to the early 2000s, and to have seen that drop over the past 5-6 years, I think is remarkable, and I think the people of Dominica must be commended for that, and to ensure that we continue to keep this country as a zone of peace. Now, Mr. Moise, and let's go back to you a bit, because I see that you're very much enthused about your role.
Yes.
In terms of how have you seen the reception that we have gotten from the areas that you have been working so far? What's your take so far on that?
I think the general public of Dominica is ready to accept community policing.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow our Facebook page, the Commonwealth of Dominica Facebook page, you would see that everything we do, we tend to post it to make it visible, so that the public can see what is really going on and what community policing is all about. For example, I can mention the visit we had on the block in Wesley. When we got to the block in Wesley, we were dressed in uniform and we were outside police officers. They know the officers from the district. And we met 5 persons there. And everybody was, oh, what are the police doing there? And then we started speaking to them and having a dialogue. And I think is the way we came and we started speaking to them, the approach, it was different. And they was like, but officer, what? Are they not policemen? But we're police, but it doesn't mean that every time you see a policeman that you should be frightened that they come to search you or something. We only came here to speak to you so we can hear from you on the block what is really affecting you and how we can help you. By the end of that meeting, we had 25 persons on the block. They called the other young boys to come to hear what we had to say. So that by itself, I think that's what gave me that excitement to push forward. And it also happened in Baffin State. We were speaking to some of the fellas on the block, and it was the same thing as the officer. We on the block for true, but it doesn't mean that you as officers, when you pass that, you must pass us straight, because we are human beings too. And I am saying this to say that as police officers, we all have our role to do, and we have our work to do. There are times where we have to use force, reasonable force, to do what we have to do. But the approach sometimes, we maybe can try to change it. And I would always say that community policing is not the soft approach of policing. It is the new approach of policing. That is what it is. So if you can get persons to speak to you, to feel, to make you, or to make them feel that this man is not somebody I should be afraid to speak to. I can go and speak to a police officer when I see him on the road and not feel shame, or he speak to me in a way that I feel that I will never speak to this man again. So that in all causes the public to trust us, the police, a little more. So I encourage my brothers and sisters, my colleagues, to adopt the community policing style in terms of how you go about doing your daily work, in terms of how you speak to persons, in terms of how receptive you are to them when they come to you, especially in the outstation when they come to make reports, how you speak to them, and the response you give, even when they call on the phone, what do you say to them? Because we are being paid to give a service to the Commonwealth of Dominica. It must not look like the public is begging us to serve them.
Well, Ms. Jordan is saying on DBS Radio's Facebook page, she appreciates the community policing interaction, and thanks very much for engaging with us on your Facebook page. So
thank you.
The other issue is we have seen the police force started so far with this community outreach program, where a number of groups have been formed, and like working groups, action groups you call them, and comprising community leaders like in Granby, Baffin State, etc., and also Tarish Peter. We had, of course, various community meetings, the public meetings there. Granby was something else, well attended, and so you have formed in Granby an action plan group itself. Mr. Sergeant Andrew, do you have follow-ups in the communities where you have started with those groups and where you have sat down and come up with a plan of action to deal with the issues that you want to resolve for the express purpose of curtailing or preventing crime in the respective communities. Do you have follow-up with the communities in Grand Bay and Tarish Pit, etc.?
Yes, sir, definitely. We do follow-ups because we realize there's a need to constantly, over a period of time, revisit what we are doing, assessing it, and see what level of impact is being made. We have a WhatsApp group made up of community leaders, teachers, nurses, farmers, ordinary persons, a wide cross section of the community, and we communicate regularly about particular issues. I can tell you sometime I don't, whether it's a weekend, whether it's a weekday, whether it's 11 o'clock in the night, sometime I get calls or I get messages, and I have to respond to those messages. I cannot say that I finish work. Your work is never finished in community policing. It is a very demanding job. Sometimes you get a call that somebody hearing noises at the back of their yard. You have to respond. You have to make a call. You have to follow up. Or generally issues of loud noise, or one of the major issues of derelict vehicles. People call you at any time, reference those vehicles which are parked in areas, creating an obstruction and a health hazard. So it's a 24/7 job, and there is a continuous engagement of the members of the public as part in those communities.
I'm happy that you're making reference to derelict vehicles, because that's, in my view, a total public nuisance that has to be dealt with once and for all, especially in areas. You go to Goodwill, certain areas in Goodwill, a number of derelicts and other parts of the country, not only posing a public health issue, but also bringing down the value of people's property. And we haven't opened your line there, but I think somebody wants to say something to you tonight. Good evening. You're live on the British Radio. Good evening. Good night. Good evening. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Good night. Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clearly.
Yeah, I just want to commend the police on the initiative for community policing. And I'm happy to hear the officer say it's not an easy job. It takes the entire community and the entire force to buy into the idea for it to succeed. You see, because community policing is, people tend to believe that it's to get information and so on and so on. But it's to try to help to remove or reduce the risk of crime and so on. And certainly, I want to commend the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, especially during this police week. The question is, one of the things I would like them to address, the police, is the response time. I've been speaking to quite a few persons. I know sometimes because of the resources and time constraints, it's very tight. But one of the things is the response time. And the education process must continue, because people have that kind of thinking that community policing is just to get information. No, it's a collaborative effort between the public and the police to look for creative ways in solving crime and to ensure that the community and everything goes well. So thanks to the Minister of National Security for what he has been doing, and I can only wish Mr. Andrew well. But the whole force and the community must get on board to have a successful program. Thank you and good night.
Thank you very much. Of course, former police superintendent, Mr. Andrew Irish. Of course, when I came to CID as a recruit, I met folks like him, time fingerprint and photographic expert, and of course always supporting the police. Yes, Mr. Andrew, you were making reference just now about the the number of calls I've been getting and the follow-ups. And the thing is, the intention is to have the community policing program actually introduced in every community in Dominica. Isn't that so?
Yes, sir.
Right.
That's the intention. So while we're the community policing unit, we are basically the coordinators.
Right.
The outstations and the officers in the out district must play their part to engage their particular communities, and we will provide the necessary assist and help them in that regard to develop their own initiatives.
Yeah, the caller just now made a very important point, because central to your community policing effort is to build what you call public trust and confidence. Now, if the public is of the view that the police force does not respond quickly enough, and that in itself is something that has to be addressed, and I believe it's something that we must make and take particular note of. And within the fire department, and you have when a call is made, a report is made, that they must respond within 5 minutes. And so far, I believe they're doing a tremendous job in that regard. And I think similarly, something like that need to be part of your operation, that somebody calls, and within a period of time, you ought to be able to report and respond. But let's going back to what you have started doing, and the level of success that you have been able to achieve so far. I know one of the communities that you're working with was the community of Silver Lake and others, where you have developed a mentorship program, working in partnership with the private and public sector, to draw from the expertise. Where are you, your department and the police force in that regard?
The mentorship program is one which we have been developing. We have not launched it as yet, but the intention is to launch it very soon, because we realize the need for the youth in Silver Lake. There is a level of fear of the police in those areas, and I could tell you when we went there, a group of us went there a particular day. Some persons was a bit apprehensive as to what was our purpose of coming here, what report that somebody made about somebody at Silver Lake. And I told them we have no report, and we are basically coming to engage them to find out what are their concerns, what security issues they have, how can we assist them. At first they were a bit skeptical, but after the constant dialogue, they kind of relax and come to the understanding that that was basically our purpose. Silver Lake is, I consider, as any other community, it needs safety, it needs security, and there has been quite a few incidents in Silver Lake, shooting incidents, and there was a murder just the other day. But we cannot, as a police force, we cannot allow any particular community to not be properly policed and engaged. We must engage everywhere. So that is the plan of the community policing, is to engage all the communities. So let everybody feel that the police is always present, that they are always there, somebody you can talk to, somebody you can communicate, bridge that gap, bridge that divide between the police and the community.
One thing that one has to guard against is the issue of stereotyping. when you're embarking on such programs. And yes, you have to community target a particular communities at risk, but it's also important to, when you do so, that we do not assign any particular definition or to stereotype or and to ensure that we target all communities, but again recognizing that certain communities have peculiar needs.
Yes.
And it's something that we have to underscore. So we don't want to sound like we're actually targeting communities, but if you see that there's an emerging problem in a particular community, you may want to place special focus on a community, but not do it in a way as if to say these people,
Yes.
belong to a particular type, etc. So I think it's important for us to actually bring that out there. So I believe that there was tremendous currency being given to the whole idea of promoting community policing from a national standpoint, and also placing focus on the areas that we need to focus on. So I think I must say that in my view, in contemporary policing is the way out, and insofar as trying to solve issues within the community setting. And I must say, those of you within the unit, how many of you in the unit right now?
Well, 5 of us in the unit, sir.
Okay, fine. And so far, Mr. Andrew, are you getting the support of the men and women?
Yes, I must say, Woman Police Constable Alexia Lewis has been an integral part of the unit, and she has been engaging a lot of the youth and a lot of the females, the young females that need guidance and mentorship. Also, Woman Police Constable Taminda Gis, which was part of the unit, and also Woman Police Constable Colonel Thomas, who is also part of the unit. They have been playing their part in that regard, and engaging the communities, and especially the young women, because sometimes we speak of the men who are disadvantaged, but in our, I think one of the eye openers in our community policing initiatives, that is that we realize women are just as disadvantaged and just as impacted by crime and violence, and they also need some level of intervention, some level of attention in that regard.
Okay. I know you also have a schools program, where you go and tell us something about it. What specifically is the objective of the police force when you go into the schools? What are you looking for? What are you trying to establish?
Well, what we did as a unit in collaboration with the hierarchy of the police force is we created a school resource program. So each school in the Commonwealth of Dominica, an officer or 2 officers will be assigned to that school, particularly to that school, and their role basically is to be that call away between the police force and that school. So if something is happening in the school, you could call a school resource officer, and then they could start moving on one time, instead of sometimes you can have them call charge office or whatever, or the police station. But you would have a closer relationship with your school resource officer, because that person is the person that will be coming to your school sometime on a not daily basis, maybe weekly basis, to visit if you have an issue, to see how they can solve it, what solution can be used, or what initiative, what strategy can be used in that school if they are going for a particular phase. Like for example, you have a school dealing with bullying, we'll put in some lectures. Like for example, there was a school we had a meeting, like a mini conference with the parents and the students and the teachers. So we got a feel of what was really going on, even to a point where we understood why certain students was behaving a certain way, because it kind of stemmed from what was happening at home. So that is how the school resource officer will work. They are basically the what you call it, that person responsible for the needs of that school in terms of if there is anything to do with violence. And another thing we try not to do is we try to tell the students, even you see a police officer come to this school, it doesn't mean that we come to arrest you. Some of you, we're just here to help you, to give you a little advice there and there, to make you know, okay, you're going on that particular path, but if you take that one, you will end up in a better position. So it's a very good program, and I think the schools, they are very receptive to it. We in the process of creating a few proposals for certain schools based on their needs. So we also meet with the schools, sit down with the teachers, have discussions, and they let us know what exactly is going on in that school, and we will put a proposal together or a program to see how we can tackle that particular issue in that particular school.
Okay, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so far, Mr. Andrew, in terms of the involvement of the police officers from a national standpoint, I know that a number of senior officers who actually gave us some training in the fundamentals of community policing, and we had the engagement of consultants for community policing, and Mr. Irish was the last one. Are you getting the support from the rank and file within the police force so far?
Yes, I believe it has been improving.
Okay.
I mean, it's a transitionary phase because the majority of policemen come through that traditional style of policing, and that's technically how what existed before, but the training, I believe, has helped to bridge that gap, and I've been seeing improvements in the old districts and the other areas in starting to develop that community policing engagement and feel. So I must say it has been improving, and I think in time it will only get better.
So you're saying that you're seeing an improvement, and are you encouraged by that?
Definitely, I am encouraged. I usually communicate with the area inspectors who actually are the ones spearheading the programs in the different communities, and I've been getting supports from the inspectors in the district. So I'm very much pleased by that.
Okay, one of the concerns from the public, and if I were to speak as on behalf of the public, there is that if you're talking about community policing, but in a number of communities, you're not seeing the police. I mean, like putting on their uniforms and being part of the community, like how we need before. For example, I can tell you, growing up in Maho, you had this sergeant Pavilon. He was from Colio, and he was a household name. And then you had people like Mr. Pelwy, who worked in Mao for, and then these folks, But in particular, Mr. Sergeant Pavilon was a household name. When fishing boats were being pulled up, he was there. You get what I'm saying? When everything happened, he was there. And I think the public now have this appetite for that kind of approach. So, would you say that there is some degree of credence to that? That we need to see more police officers in the districts in uniform and being, more proactive.
Definitely, sir. Policing 101, patrol, presence. You can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that. Every community where there's a station, they have several communities under their portfolio, and they must give attention to each community in their portfolio. I know sometimes it can be difficult as a station, as a department, sometime in terms of the human resource or dealing with particular matters that may arise, because policing is dynamic. Today might be a quiet day, and tomorrow you might not even get to have a proper breakfast. That is just how it is. But however, we must strategize effectively to ensure that we have that presence on a continuous basis in every community which we serve.
Okay. Now, we spoke just now about the school program. Do you want to give us an appreciation as to some of the schools that you have been so far? And are you targeting a particular age group? Or are you targeting the primary school? Are you also placing focus on the secondary school? Which schools are you actually placing focus on right now as we speak?
We are at both schools, both primary and secondary. I think we have been to mostly all of the schools in the Roseau catchment area. For the outstation, I know Grand Bay is doing a very good job. Maho, Portsmouth also, but we Coliho, yes. We tend to focus on all of them. All of them. Depend on the situation. There may be a age group. Maybe because maybe at the time what is happening, depending on what the lecture is or the engagement is, I think the school principal sometimes will dictate whether or not or what particular age group we should deal with. But we tend to deal with everybody from pre-K up to grade 6 and Form 1 up to Form 5.
Okay. In terms of the reception from the students that you have been engaging, how do you feel in terms of the reception? Is it what you expected, or is it cold? Is it?
You could have mixed emotions sometimes.
Yeah.
For example, I have dealt with situations in the schools, and after the conversation and the engagement, that child is become like my son or my daughter, because the child becomes so open that the information that you get that cause you to look further away from the school to find out what exactly is causing that child to behave a particular way. So every situation you can get different reactions. We at community policing have met some serious including spiritual. We have came up on spiritual where we had to get priest and pastor to assist. That is how deep it is. When we got to the school, we thought it was like a normal, and when it came down to a certain way, or the person started looking and behaving, and somebody said that, hey, we need a priest, we need a pastor, and that happened right in the school. We had to clear the school, and then the priest did what they had to do, and I was like, whoa.
Are you getting also this? Are you getting the support of the teachers? Are the teachers enthusiastic about it, and do they feel that sense of reinforcement of what they're trying to do when you're in the classroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think they really appreciate the program, because as the coordinator said, our phone always on the hook. Because anything happen at the school, they call us. Call Andrew, call Moses, call Luis. Every time. So you come to work, is never let's say a quiet day, because your phone always goes off. Something happening at the school, we have to go there. So even before general investigation or Roseau police station will reach, the community policing will be there because they call us.
Okay, we are talking to two great Dominicans there, police officers, men who have devoted their lives to Dominica. And we're talking community policing here tonight. Of course, you're celebrating Police Week. And you may want to call us. We have 15 more minutes with you. And you may want to interact with the officers and ask the question, or make any suggestion to actually to help them improve on what they're trying to do and to achieve. So the number is 448-328-8284. Sorry, and you can call this number, and 1-800-327. And as we continue to interact and to speak with the officers tonight, Mr. Southern Andrew, Mr. Corporal Moise. So I know you're a musician, and how, I mean, are you hoping to incorporate what you do to strengthen the appeal of the program that you in community policing? Because you know some communities, and you have some guys, some folks who have talent, but they're on the block, but they can sing, they can rap.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? And they may have something to offer. You understand? So I never underestimate somebody you may send the block, etc.
I must say music.
Yeah. Yes.
Music and sports are always uniting forces. When people get involved with music, they collaborate with groups, and we have seen what Bouillon Music have done for Dominica, and even outside of Dominica for the region. The country gets notice, and in community policing, whatever initiatives that can bring that level of development to the youth, that level of respect, we are all for it. So hence we also are responsible for the media page of the police force. So we have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have Facebook, and we've also partnered with other groups like the Signal Band, and we are hoping that we can do some collaborations very soon with Shelley and the Signal Band. That is in the development stage. So look forward to see something very soon in that regard.
Yeah, because sometimes if you can get a guy who may have maybe intended to get his herself involved in any negative form of behavior, to put in his energy into music.
Music, yes.
And and stuff like that. As right as sports, and it could save some lives, and to get young folks into wholesome adults going forward. So I believe both of you, I mean, and the talent that you have within the unit, it can only actually grow. Present a splendid opportunity for the police force and for the various communities to try to cultivate and to regain that public trust, which is critical to the success of the police insofar as solving crime is concerned. Because if the public and the police continue to have this element of suspicion, and it's not unique to Dominica. It's a regional and global phenomenon. So but we have to speak about Dominica, and we have to try to see what can be done to fix it. And yes, Mr. David, yes, so you're smiling.
Yes, as you mentioned about suspicion, as you see, it's not unique. I mean, looking at it rationally, a policeman is one who sometimes comes, search you, arrest you. So there's sometimes, in general, people have that negative feel towards police, because this is a man that is coming to arrest me and put me in the cell.
But as I said, boys, within the police force too, Isn't that so?
Yes, sir.
But I can tell you, in our days, and just joke on this side, when CID folks would live upstairs and come outside chat office, right?
Yes, sir.
And you would have met some police officers there. Oh man, stop talking. But because for us think, CID guys are wrong. Yeah. Man, it's dropping. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so do you get my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it still happening?
Yeah.
No. Is it?
Maybe to a lesser extent.
Wait. So I'm saying. So you have this thing there, and I believe we have to continue working on it as you're doing,
Yes,
and don't get discouraged by the negative talk that you're hearing, because it's part of our society, and it's not unique to us. For example, you had this burning and destroying of the drugs And then it was brought to my attention. Some people said that the police bought some flour, and they want to burn that. You understand? So, and they took the cocaine. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do you get my point? So
Yes,
you are going to get those things. The important thing is to rise above that. And how do you therefore rise above that? Is to give the public a reason, and the reason that you're going to give the public is by cultivating that trust. You get my point? And it's not going to happen overnight, but what you're doing, as we're about to wind up there, because I know you may want to go back to police headquarters in a while to partake in whatever you're doing.
We have karaoke night tonight.
Okay,
karaoke,
I know that.
so
Yes,
you could come and sing tonight.
Yeah, well,
when you like.
if I want to come, all money finish, you know. But don't underestimate my fellas, you know.
I know they can sing.
Most my fellas were in a band, you know. In Piccadilly, where I was from, we had 2 bands, you know. All right, well, leave that alone, eh? All right, so I think it's encouraging, and I'm elated by the fact that you're starting to buy into the whole issue of community policing. And you have so many bright folks in the police force, like yourselves, who are here tonight. And gone are the days when you had only 1 or 2 folks, you know, in the 90s with degrees, and you have so many of you. And having a degree will not make you, by itself, a good police officer. You must have the passion. And I think the mere fact that you guys are a part of I must say, an experience. I use the word experience, you know, because it's something you're trying to do, something that has not been done before, and it's the first time that we have had in place a unit exclusively, responsible for driving the community policing program. So I can only wish you all the best, and I'm happy that we had a next program planned for tonight, and you guys were able to come on short notice, and to have been so articulate tonight there, and having a sense of understanding as to what you said to do. As we're about to wind up, you have a schedule for the continuation of the program, community policing.
Yes,
schedule,
sir.
Yeah.
Our intention is to formally launch in Wesley very soon. So that is our focus. We have been working with the farmers as it relates to the offense of predial larceny.
Could you break that down for the public? Because some of the farmers may not even understand.
Yes. Predial larceny is the modern term theft of agricultural produce, or in layman terms, stealing of the farmers' food products, his mangoes, his dashing, stealing of it, theft of agricultural produce. This is a serious issue in the Wesley area, and the farmers have suffered significant losses. So we have come up with a plan, and we aim to intensify the patrols in the particular areas, ensuring that the farmers are certified and they have the proper requisites which is required from the Ministry of Agriculture, and so that persons cannot just buy produce from anyone and who steals produce and just go and sell the farmer's produce.
That's a very good point.
Yes, so proper certification.
That's a very good point you're making, because those who buy the produce from people who they know, or that's what they're doing. Equally culpable, and maybe should even suffer greater penalties than those who actually go to steal. Because I say steal the sweat of the farmers. It's not a nice thing to do at all. To a man go and have to sweat, and then you go and plant this produce, and you steal it and sell it for next to nothing. I believe so. But so you have a core group working with in Wesley.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and so how you intend to proceed with that program in Wesley?
Well, we have started the program already. However, there's the intention to have the official launch where we bring in the minister and also the other government official, so we can have a more comprehensive view, a holistic view of the entire community, the issues. Because the police alone cannot just do it. It is important that the other government agencies, the agricultural department, the other ministries are engaged based on what particular issues being dealt with.
And then you would have community leaders.
Yes, we have pastors, we have principals, we have nurses, we have farmers, we have the youth.
Okay.
Some of the guys on the block, they are all part of that the Wesley Community Policing Committee.
That's great. The guys on the block. You have to make sure that it's all inclusive.
Yes.
So as we about to call it a night tonight, because you guys have to go and sing tonight, and we'll just take a moment and I want again to express my gratitude to you guys for being here tonight and on short notice. And I'm certain that the people who listen who are listening now, better understand what you're setting to do, and can only wish you well. And maybe they're looking forward to have you or the police officers in the various districts to come to engage them in discussion and to make themselves more available and to ensure that you have to put back on your uniform.
Yes.
You have to go back to the communities. You have to, because policing, in terms of your core function, one component of that is to assist the public. To assist the public. And I like the way you actually spoke about that earlier, Mr. Sergeant Andrew, about building a kind of partnership and working with the public. And both of you made a reference to that, and you can only do that by being out there. Yes. You cannot stay in a respective police station and cultivate a relationship. And so let us hope that is just the beginning of kind of, I want to sound maybe kind of funny there, of a rebirth in terms of reintroducing. And having said that, though, the police force has done well. Understand? But we are now living in times where the public expect more. You understand? Because there's so many problems and so many social diversions, and that the public have to cope with, and they're going to need members of the public going to need guidance, and people who are there to help them to navigate that difficult time. So your closing remarks. I'll start first with Corporal.
Yes, sir. I want to tell the public to know that the police and the community are partners. That is, first of all, we cannot build a safe neighborhood without each other. I encourage everybody to stay engaged and stay informed and continue working with the police, because it's only that relationship will keep the Commonwealth of Dominica as safe and the safest place in the Caribbean, and I dare to say the world.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I would like to first of all thank you, the Minister, for having us here tonight. You have always been very supportive and have always sought to provide the necessary resources so that this department, community policing department, can be effective, and it has proven to be very effective, and it is commendable. I'd also like to thank the Chief of Police acting, Mr. Lincoln Corbett, the Deputy Chief acting, Mr. Geoffrey James, and also our acting ACP, Miss Moise, because she has always been instrumental in assisting us, and all the gazetted officers who have provided that level of assistance and support to the community-oriented policing. We couldn't do it on our own. It is a group effort, and we will continue to bring about new initiatives. I want the members of the public to continue to support us and follow our pages and see what is the police is doing, and give support to that. Community policing is not the police business, it is everybody business, and all of us have to play our part to reduce crime and the fear of crime.
Yes, certainly, again, the police force certainly is at a watershed moment. And you have a cadre of young talent, both for men and women, and the future is actually bright for folks like you and the others who are working with you. And I believe the public is willing to work with you if the police continue to demonstrate that level of proactiveness, of understanding the role, and understanding that both the public and the police can coexist. And that coexistence it depends on how we respect each other, how we view each other, and I believe that the community policing program in itself is a step towards achieving that. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the police chief and the deputy, the gazetted officers, of course, and the ACPs, the men and women of the police force, the general public, for what we have been able to achieve over the years. We have seen some of the gripes in terms of gun-related crimes. It's not as high in Dominica as other countries, but for us as a small country, with a small population, we have to watch those indicators and deal with it. But in the other areas, I think that brings some comfort to me as a minister and as a Dominican first. It's only how we have made significant strides in reducing crime in the other areas. Burglary, is a historic low. When you look at 2023, we had, in terms of robbery against tourists, only 2. I like to sit as a minister down to 0. When you see statistics like rape last year down to 5, you get my point? And moving from the 50s in the mid 90s and 30s, you understand? When you see a significant drop in unlawful sexual intercourse, we want to sit to 0, but there's a significant drop to what previously obtained. When you see both theft, indictable, and summary matters significantly lower now than what obtained in the 90s and early 2000s. Those are bright moments for us, and I think that we have a collective responsibility as a nation to work hard to ensure that we deal with this gun crime issue once and for all. Mm-hmm. Again, we are seeing some serious gains, and again today, from what I've been informed, the police had a successful matter relating where some firearms were actually recovered and arrests made, and we will have to continue that effort to rid the street of illegal firearms. But I wanted to highlight the other areas that we must embrace, because I think that is what we are defined by as a peaceful and law-abiding country. So good night, and thank you very much for being with us tonight, and thank you to the listening public. We'll be back again the next time around with the chairman of the Electoral Commission, and to speak about the confirmation process. Have a nice night, Dominica. DBS Radio, the nation station. Good night, folks. Go and enjoy your whatever.
Good night. Thanks.
I'll be there in a while.